What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the data points, what's moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So NIO's down 0.52%, 662 the low, $7 is the high, and 35.9 million shares being traded, 58.5 is the average. So fairly low volume. Even popping over to the secondary market, you're not seeing that much in kind of transactions, only one. It is a buy, but still 144,000 isn't really going to kind of cause the stock price to go higher. Aside from that, these are some of the transactions occurring on the dark pool. At the time of doing this video, shorts aren't doing anything. So 10.67% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 147.6 million shares overall being shorted. So this is rather odd. I would have anticipated shorts to be a little bit more active, but when it comes down to the dark pool, it is primarily used by shorts and hedge funds. So given the price action, it is fair to assume most of these transactions are kind of hedge funds selling, and especially this is a very telltale sign of hedge funds, 50,000, right? So at the end of the day, not necessarily the best. During the pre-market, you had it very hyped up, so it was doing and looking very good, bounced off of that like typical $7 range, which is a very key resistance. And unfortunately, the reason why it was all hyped up was because of a rumor. So a lot of this was floating around that the weekly registration numbers were roughly around 13,000. You did have China EV Home reach out to a company representative, which said that the 13,000 was not accurate and it was lower than that. We don't really know, as far as I was able to find, there was no posts on the actual true numbers. So kind of gray for today, I guess. But nonetheless, this is one thing that really hyped up NIO investors during the pre-market, and then that slowly just kind of popped. Only other thing that did come out was this right here. So we've seen a lot of news over the last couple of weeks about NIO kind of expanding to Europe. And so it looks like NIO and Firefly brands officially launch in Greece. Onvo expected for 2027. So I think that's good. Onvo, yeah, I feel like that's hit and miss. Most likely you need a lot of those tariffs to go down in order for Onvo to be a pretty big success. But for the Firefly, based on the price point, like that's going to be a win-win. The only thing that this article doesn't bring up though is Portugal. I know kind of in the past we've seen some articles that say Portugal, some that don't, and I think that's kind of the downside of just so many people doing articles and plus they each have their own connections to NIO. It's just everyone has different kind of wordings and like, I don't know. So I'm not really sure. NIO, I don't believe, has ever truly confirmed that they are going to Portugal. Just aside from, I think, Greece and wherever else. So let me know your thoughts on that. That's pretty much the only thing that has really come out. I know a lot of people are very much waiting for NIO to announce the date of their upcoming earnings. And historically, as I've mentioned, every time they do announce that, it kind of causes a little bit of FOMO. So we'll just have to wait and see how that does play out. But officially today, no news or any SEC filing. So we'll kind of just have to wait and see. Aside from that, looking at the options, 3.8 million in calls, 1.1 in puts, a reduction of net premiums about 480,000, and about 47% of all the options being done today are bearish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be kind of between that 7 to 750, so a good amount of optimism is still there. Bears are anticipating for it to really break down sub kind of 6 to 650, so kind of crazy. So let me know your general thoughts on where you feel NIO might be going next. But right now with it at 667, quickly looking at the 4-hour chart. So right now it is trading right below this S1. So 669 is going to be that key level to really get over early on and sometime today. Then you have 702. So that's also another very strong resistance level. So just kind of keep those in mind. So 669 and then 649 is going to be as well support levels and plus pivot points. So NIO is regrettably breaking down on a technical standpoint. One thing as well on a side note that did come out is I don't see any official ratings coming associated to any analysts. Last one was done 11 days ago, Goldman Sachs, Tina, who has a 50% success rating. But as per usual, we see Deutsche, give a rating. And so this isn't the first time I guess they've given ratings, but TipRanks doesn't kind of correlate the two, because it looks like this from this article is that they posted it to the Hong Kong. But then again, there's a lot of things. I know I've explained this in the past. Some analysts just do actual articles and they don't actually officially post their rating. I have a weird feeling that whoever does Deutsche's ratings, they just do articles, they don't officially post it. And that's, you can tell based on just the headline right there, it looks like it was just more of an article. So at the end of the day, I don't know if that's something to count as far as anything, but they do technically, based on this, they're giving about a $10 price target. So let me know your viewpoint on that. But as I mentioned, NIO is kind of breaking down on the technicals. So it is below the 50-day moving average as well as the 10. So it kind of shows that momentum is slowly drying up. As far as the market position, you can kind of see that there is not that much willing buyers. And plus there's a little bit of a gap right here. Gap doesn't always need to get filled, but generally for those individuals that are very technical focused, they might kind of disagree with me on that, but there's a lot of willing sellers. So NIO can move up. It just needs that nice gentle push, and it needs a good operational update, because NIO's been putting a lot of good things out when it ran up, and the market really values expansion and kind of demand related articles. Like there hasn't really been that much, regrettably. So I think in general, the NIO's getting influenced through technicals and just lack of news. So we'll have to wait and see how things do play out. If, let's say, the weekly registration numbers somehow do come in, let's say at 12,999, which is below the 13,000, you never know. That could be a good catalyst to really push it back and retest that $7 range. But if we don't hear anything, then most likely it will continue to consolidate. So refer back to kind of those support and resistance points that I did mention from the fib levels, but there really hasn't been that much in articles really coming out associated to NIO. So let me know your viewpoint on NIO. What's your kind of general thoughts on what might be coming next? Do you think that their upcoming earnings is going to be a pretty big catalyst, or do you think it's just going to be kind of overhyped? They will definitely have a big opportunity to kind of share that if they're going to be on track to hit their like Q4 huge milestones, and that's going to be a big thing, right? But we'll just have to wait and see. So let me know your viewpoint. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades, worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.